Hello, my name is Michael Hudson, CEO of Mawson Resources, a gold exploration company exploring in Finland and Australia and listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange. I'm a geologist and an optimist by nature, and I'll be making forward-looking statements. As mentioned, we're exploring in two safe Tier 1 jurisdictions, Finland and the Victorian goldfields of Australia. Finland is our flagship project. It's a resource that we're creating into a larger resource and then extending. We just finished a 14-kilometre drill program, have some very good results, and they're shown here on this page. We're fully permitted. We've got a runway, 20 kilometres planned for drilling from December onwards. So a project that's really pivoted from exploration through to resource development and expansion. In Australia, we closed on an exciting portfolio of projects in the shadow of the headframe of Fosterville, which is arguably the highest grade and most profitable gold mine on earth at the moment. And so that's a new acquisition that we're just starting to start work on as I speak. The company is well capitalised. We have around 18 million Canadian in the bank, a market cap of just shy of 90 million Canadian. We are institutionally held predominantly, and also have some key corporates on the register, including Newmont, the world's largest gold company. We are a team that has been together for quite a long time. We are technically based. Our main aim in life is to make discoveries and build on big mineral discoveries in a respectful and appropriate way. As a consequence, we're supported by some key people in the environmental, corporate governance and capital market side. Finland is a mining jurisdiction. It's been mining for 400 or 500 years, but gold is a relatively new addition to that mix, only first found really in the country in any economic levels in the 1980s. A thin veneer of glacial till masks essentially the whole country with 2 or 3 metres thickness of till, so it's a drill exercise. We're one of the first movers in the country, but have been followed by a lot of other companies over the last 10 years since we've been operating there. We have Agnico down the road with Europe's largest gold mine, and a number of key other companies making great discoveries in what is an emerging field. We're on a runway. We put together just over 400,000 ounces gold resource back in December 2018. We've tripled the drill meters into that area. Our aim is to put an interim upgrade out around August this year. Our aim is to get around 1 million ounces, but that will be an interim upgrade. We can see this system growing into a multi-million ounce system with a lot more drilling, which we are now well funded to complete. Some of the results on the project have been quite spectacular. We've drilled the single best drill hole in Europe over the last 10 years by a TSX company, and that still stands today. The project itself essentially is 10 by 10 kilometres of auriferous country. We started at the Rompas project. That's where we drilled 6 metres at 600 grams per tonne, which is that drill hole I referenced earlier. It's a little nuggety, that system, so we broadened our search and found the Reawakens area 8 kilometres to the east. That's where all our drilling in the last 3 to 4 years has gone into, and where all our resources are based. Some very good results emerging there. 100% owned project, no royalties, no streams. You can't have any success in what you're trying to do, finding mineralization, if you can't access the ground from an exploration or potential mining point of view. And this is a survey that's just been conducted by the European Union. We have 75% of the local people having a positive attitude to what we are doing. That's an outcome of working with and listening to and explaining over the long term what we are trying to do here and grow a large, long life mine. Finland is part of the electrical revolution of the world and of Europe specifically. They produce a large proportion of the world's cobalt, 10% of the world's refined cobalt, but 90% of that feedstock comes from the DRC. So having a resource with gold and a cobalt byproduct, we're looking at 5 to 10% of our in situ value being cobalt, is a strategic asset for Finland, and that has brought a lot of attention and public funding to the project. Some of that funding has gone towards looking at mineral processing. Gold, which is the main payable in this project, will be the main payable. Has a very good recovery. It's free conventional milling. We get 25 to 50% with gravity, and the rest up to 97% average through cyanidation. We're also seeing good recoveries at the moment in test work on flotation alone for gold, plus 90%. Cobalt, it appears a little more tricky, but forms in liberatable minerals that we can liberate either into a gravity concentrate, a flotation concentrate, or a magnetic concentrate. Moving across to Australia, the Victorian Goldfields is a recent acquisition, as I mentioned. We have 3 projects that we either bought into, the Sunday Creek, we own 100%, 2 joint ventures, Redcastle and Doctors Gully, and we also took a 10% strategic holding in a listed company in Australia called Ngambia Resources. We also have the first right of refusal over all of Ngambia's land package, which is a 3,600 square kilometre tenement package, the largest contiguous block of ground in the state. Victoria is well known for its gold endowment. 80 million ounces has come out mainly during the 1800s, but it is one of the world's giant super systems. But what is old is new again. Back in the most of the gold, as I mentioned, came out in the 1850s to the late 1800s. There was a second boom due to technological development pre-World War I, and then really only the last 2 or 3 years since Fosterville and the discovery of the Swan Zone, the super high-grade Cinderella Swan Zone, has there been a renewed interest in the state. Old timers went underground. Most work has been open pit until recently. Again, we're going underground at Fosterville is the main target. Victoria was seen as a tough jurisdiction with refractory gold at Fosterville and or nuggety in what we call the mesozonal systems, which is where the majority of the gold came out of. It's the epizonal systems we're now looking for. So the light bulb came on and the opportunity. So this is where Fosterville and Costerfield are located. Our properties are in green, boxes there. The opportunity for these epizonal systems only exists east of Fosterville, on the eastern side of the Bendigo zone through to the Melbourne zone, and that's where we find ourselves with those green boxes. The red tenure area is the ground where we have the first right of refusal. The Sunday Creek project is one of our projects, some very high grades, drilled over 800 metres. The system is open for 11 kilometres, essentially untested beneath 70 or 80 metres around the old mine area and no drilling beyond that. This is one example. Here's a drill hole 50 metres deep. It has no drilling along strike from it or below it, essentially. So 8 metres at 11 grams is easy picking, low-hanging fruit for us in that project. The Redcastle project is one of the joint venture projects. It exists immediately along strike from Costerfield and Owen Mine. It was a bigger area for mining. It was mined out essentially before Costerfield was. The old timers went for the higher grade ore, which Redcastle was. It was also bigger than Fosterville in the day. Yet it hasn't got a drill hole beneath 80 metres. The deepest drill hole is 80 metres deep. All drilling, there's hundreds of drill holes that test on average down to 40 metres, as did the old timers. So really easy pickings there again to look under one of these systems. So we have a very active work program. Resource expansion drilling just finished. That's going to feed into a resource upgrade by August. Lots of permitting always ongoing. Finished geophysics just about to start, as is Australian geophysics, and drilling into Q3, Q4 in both jurisdictions, with a big drill program in winter from December in Finland. So a company with a very solid base in Finland, an expanding resource, and some very exciting projects in Australia. I hope you can join us in our pursuit as we go forward here in what looks like a buoyant gold market, with a well-funded company, with a bunch of people who love exploration, have made lots of discoveries before, and this is our